So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webcast titled How to Pave Your Path to AI with Microsoft Fabric. My name is Stephen Simon, and I'm the Business Development Manager for Data and Analytics and AI for HSO in the UK. For today's presentation and demonstration, I'm joined by two colleagues who will be presenting with me today, Nipun Gupta from Microsoft, who's a Data and AI Specialist, and Simon Middlemas, who is a HSO Cloud Architect. As detailed on the website, the agenda for today will cover some of the key steps in your journey to AI using Microsoft Fabric. The first session is just a brief introduction to HSO by myself, and then it'll be followed by the main session from Nipun, who will both present and demonstrate Microsoft Fabric and how it provides the perfect platform to start your journey to AI. We'll then move to Simon, who will talk through some of the HSO customer successes. Then Simon will also go into a bit of detail on the first steps we believe you should take on this journey. Due to time constraints, we're not going to be able to field questions on the call. So therefore, please place any in the chat or add them to the feedback form, which will be sent to each of you once the session is complete, so we can address them after the call. So just to start off, to give you a little bit of background on HSO, we're a dedicated Microsoft partner for over 30 years and recognized as a trusted Microsoft advisor. So since 1987, we've undertaken several thousand successful implementations of projects with Microsoft technologies and have become one of the top global solution and implementation partners. We've got offices in over 11 countries and operate in about 30 countries, spanning from the US through to multiple areas in Europe, right through to Australasia, with a follow the sun support and managed service division. The HSO headquarters in the UK are in Reading near the Microsoft headquarters, but we've also got offices in Manchester and Glasgow. The comprehensive nature of the Microsoft application suite and Azure platform means HSO can help companies modernize, and we do this by delivering real-time performance and insights, connecting the enterprise to accelerate business transformation, both internally and externally throughout the supply chain. HSO also has deep industry expertise, as can be seen from our key industries indicated on the right-hand side of this slide, where we fully leverage Microsoft technology, the Microsoft technology platform, with many HSO pre-built accelerators to help customer projects both achieve faster time to value while lowering project risk, all with clean data from a well-managed, highly integrated environment. The deep history and experience with Microsoft means we have several hundred certified platform specialists with accreditations across the full Azure set of capabilities, with HSO being one of the small number of partners globally to have achieved Azure Expert MSP status. It's also worth noting that this is a strong investment and growth area of HSO, with the largest acquisition in the company's history happening in 2003 with a company called Motion 10 in the Netherlands, who specialize in many of the disciplines of the Azure platform. The Motion 10 acquisition has enabled a greater depth in HSO's experience that covers all the key disciplines of Azure and brings together all your disconnected systems, from infrastructure through to security, right through to low code, natural language queries, modern workplace, and of course AI. As can be seen from the attached chart, the team's depth of technical experience enables a seamless solution build for our customers, and all of our consultants are currently being transitioned through Fabric training schedules in order to meet the demands of the improved comprehensive platform that we're about to present today with Microsoft Fabric. Now, I'd like to pass you over to Nipun for our next session, where we take you through Fabric both in concept and reality with a demonstration. Nipun, over to you.
Thanks a lot. Glad everyone made it to the session. Absolutely delighted to be here, and will be happy to walk you through some of the major announcements that we made at Ignite, especially the general availability of Microsoft Fabric. So in this section, you will see the case for Fabric, and you will see some demos so you can get sense of the product experience. Let's get started. So To set the scene, essentially, if you look at the respective Gartner Magic Quadrants that cover all of analytics, you may be surprised to learn that Microsoft is the only vendor with a leadership position in all four Gartner Magic Quadrants. Here you see the Magic Quadrants for data integration and analytics, and here you see the Magic Quadrants for artificial intelligence and business intelligence. This means that Microsoft not only has a strong product in each area, but even more importantly, you can lean on Microsoft to make all of these technologies work and work seamlessly together so that developers can focus on their cycles on moving your business forward versus doing system integration. Now, Microsoft's analytics products are used at a massive scale. Microsoft has over 420,000 organizations that are using its products in pretty much every country on the planet. Microsoft processes about 8 trillion messages every single day and manages 33 exabytes of data on behalf of its customers. At the same time, Microsoft also has over 5 million developers building on the products across its stack. So when we build something, we not only build for enterprises, we also take a lot of consideration into how we are impacting the developer experience, the developer productivity. Let's hit a quick pause and look at this slide. This is put together by Firstmark Capital. They are a venture capital firm, and it accurately shows the wall of complexity that is confronting the customers as they try to make sense of all of their data. Every icon on this slide is a product or an open source technology. Organizations are frequently confronted with this wall of complexity even before they get started or even at every milestone of their analytics systems projects. This is one of the prevalent design objectives. We heard it a lot from the organizations that we work with very closely through our partners, where people simply said that they want to be a chief data officer, not a chief integration officer. Now, we understand that there are so many different services to build up an analytics projects. There are non-Microsoft technologies, and even within Microsoft, there is so many options that you can go with. There is a silver lining, of course, in this world of complexity. The silver lining is that the analytics system have a pattern. They follow a very predictable pattern. And the other silver lining is that Microsoft ships multiple products to build a complete analytics systems. Some of you might be already familiar with these services like Data Factory, like Synapse, like Power BI. But the reality is that even while Microsoft is shipping an integrated data platform, the product truth is that it has a large and very fragmented collection of products that make this analytics platform. All of these analytics platform components now come together to make the Microsoft Fabric. So this is natural outcome of years of organic growth hacking. And as a result, Microsoft has made the product reality. So you can leave behind complexity, you can leave behind potentially cost concerns, and focus on the more meaningful, more satisfying aspects of the analytics investments. So happy to introduce you to Fabric. It was announced in preview in Ignite and now, sorry, in Build, and now in Ignite, we announced that Fabric is generally available. We'll probably try to do justice in the limited time we have today to introduce you to the 4 pillars of Fabric. Let's explore them. So the first one is the complete analytics platform. The idea, one of the design objectives around building Microsoft Fabric is to ensure that it provides end-to-end analytics services in a very SaaS-based fashion, which is very easy to provision, pre-integrated, pre-tuned for performance, so that you can directly move to the actual core analytics work streams rather than setting up the infrastructure, provisioning different services, integrating them, setting up cluster storage network. You can directly jump to the analytics work stream. The second pillar is it has a new component known as One Lake. We will talk about it in detail, and that it is also open at every level. So right from storage to all the services at the top level, like Data Factory and Power BI, it is open at every level. So if you want to integrate it with any of the non-Microsoft technologies, it permits for that. Even the data format is open source. We'll have a look later. The third pillar is that it empowers every business user. So it doesn't end with analytics, it starts with analytics. And so it is integrated all the way into the Office applications. You can deliver Power BI dashboards directly into the business user workflow. For example, within PowerPoint, within Teams, you don't need to bring everyone to an app you created. You can embed in any of the apps that business users are already using. And a lot of these integrations are pre-built. We'll talk about them as well. Lastly, it's AI at every step. So it is not just AI for the end users or the business users, it's also AI for the developers. And today, we will also have a look at how Fabric platform has got built-in AI for the developers that build out these analytics platforms, that build out these new age experiences. And that's why I have labeled this slide as data analytics for the era of AI, not just data analytics in a new fashion. Great. So the first pillar is something that we can start exploring. Fabric is a single unified product that takes care of everything that an enterprise needs for analytics. So from the data lake all the way to the business user in Office, it includes data integration, data engineering, data warehousing, data science, even real-time analytics scenarios are supported. And of course, there is business intelligence that's delivered through Power BI. Fabric is essentially delivered into a single SaaS product. It provides auto integration, auto optimization, common architecture, central governance, and very office-like experiences across all the workloads. It takes care of the gestation period and the high investment and the risk that organizations need to overcome when they are setting up an analytics platform. So it's designed from grounds up for a fully unified SaaS-based experience. And that's what gave us the luxury to also add AI functionalities and then make it ready for this age of AI. Let's have a look. When we talk about the different components of an analytics platform, there are too many things that you probably need to set up. And so all of these things come pre-provisioned when you provision a Fabric tenant. They are built into a single commercial model, so you don't need to buy each of them separately. They are also um, pre-integrated so that you don't need to work on integration and optimization. It essentially provides a complete, unified, and an open analytics fabric for this era of AI. And while Fabric builds on the tried and tested Azure's analytics services like Data Factory, like Synapse, like Power BI, it also has some unique new capabilities that allow you to create new experiences, dive into new value streams on top of the data that your organization has. Let's have a look on how easy it is to set up a warehouse in Microsoft Fabric. Okay, I'll quickly navigate to my Fabric environment. And as you can see, it's very familiar probably for people who have already used Power BI in the past. But the leftmost ribbon talks about all the hardcore core functionalities. If you go to the home page, you will see some of the existing functionalities that I have been using, some objects like Power BI objects, some lake houses, some data warehouses that I have developed. But it's as simple as all the different persona-based experiences in this single SaaS interface. So as soon as I click on this Power BI button at the bottom left corner, I see this data warehouse button, and I also see this data factory button. So for example, if I go into the data factory experience, it gives me a interface for data engineering employees. For example, you can quickly set up a data flow. Gen 2, you can set up a data pipeline. There are additional preview features that are coming up, like data factory mount of existing workloads, or if you're using Apache Airflow, you can use that for data ingestion as well. But just like setting up a data pipeline, you can click on new pipeline, you can click on create, and just like that, it will create a pipeline for you. And within this pipeline, you will have option to connect to multiple data sources. Let's think about the first thing when we set up a warehouse. We bring data into it. So if you think about copy data, then it will give you access to tons of connectors, pre-built connectors to different kind of data sources, both Microsoft data sources as well as non-Microsoft data sources, where you can copy data from and bring it directly into this through this pipeline. And I will not go through all the steps, but as you can see, it's fairly straightforward. If I pick up any of the smaller data sets for the purpose of this demo, there is this pre-built data set. I can select this, I can click next. It will show me the data that I have, different tables that are available in this data, and it will also give me a preview. I can then go on to select where I want to pump this data. So if I want to pump it into a SQL server or into a lake house that I have set up or a blob storage, I can do that. And then from there, I can then just connect it to the data destination or the blob that I have. So this is as easy as making a few clicks and starting copying that data. The data copy performance is a topic in itself. We can have a look into that performance details. It's blazing fast when we go further down the presentation. But for now, let us see how easy it is to set up a warehouse. So when you go into this bottom left button and you click on data warehouse, you are immediately transported into data warehousing experience. From here, you can just click on warehouse, give your warehouse a name, and just like that, you spin up an entire warehouse. No need to worry about setting clusters, integrating them, tuning them for performance. The warehouse is created on the fly. As soon as this warehouse is created, you can possibly, I'm moving on to a warehouse that I already created for the benefit of time. So as soon as you create this warehouse, on the left-hand side, you will see all the schemas and the tables in the data mod. So for example, one of the test warehouses that I created has got different kind of schemas and tables. Let's say date, geography, licensing number, etc. And then there is obviously a preview that comes up. Now, directly from here, I can run a SQL query. It's very easy to miss out these three buttons here, but they come up when you hover over the table. So you just create select top 100 and this query is created. My cluster is already warm, so it spits out the data like that. From here, you can also create some visual queries if you want to, and you can also create data models. So it is not configured as a proper data model, but it's very similar to the Power BI interface to create these data models. As soon as you create these data models, you can directly create report from here. So from a new report button, you immediately access all this data within a very familiar looking Power BI canvas. You can start dropping the data, for example, and let's add date. Right. So as soon as I add date, I will start seeing, for example, the details about my data right in this panel, and I can potentially have a look at how many dates we have. I can very simply change the kind of report that I'm trying to build, and it goes on from there. Once this is done, you can also publish this data directly and start sharing with others by saving this report. But in summary, I just took 3 minutes to ingest data from a preferable data source, create a data warehouse, create a data model, and then create a Power BI report, which is ready to be published for my stakeholders or initial testing. Obviously, there is some additional refinement that needs to go into all this work, but all the provisioning effort, all the management, admin, and the integration effort has been taken care of. So I hope this gives you a sense of the ease of setting up a data warehouse in Fabric. And with that, I will quickly move over to the second pillar. The second pillar of Fabric is its unique data lake capability. Now, there are three key concepts that I would like to introduce you to here. The first one is one lake, the second one is one copy, and the third one is that it's open at every tier. Let's look at one lake in action. So these are some of the unique capabilities of Fabric. One lake gives you a single SaaS lake for the whole organization with all the data organized in an intuitive hierarchical namespace. So you can think of one lake as a data lake, but in a OneDrive format, or a OneDrive for enterprise data as a very crude example. One copy allows for real separation of compute and storage with all the data stored in a single common format. The data is stored in a Delta Parquet format. It's open for integration into any of the non-Microsoft technologies that you might want to use in future. And then Data Activator is one new capability that has come up, which essentially helps you to create models, rules, and triggers to activate data and create sort of database reflexes in your system. Lastly, there is Copilot, which is accelerated by Microsoft Fabric. It doesn't show up on the screen yet because I'm saving it for the last pillar. And I will walk you through the Copilot for Fabric towards the end. But for now, let's ask the question, how does the compute work? So within Microsoft Fabric, there are different runtimes, whether it's a Spark job or a T-SQL query or a Custo query language for your real-time scenarios or even your analysis services. All of these are serviced by the same serverless compute, and you don't need to provision different environments. It comes pre-provisioned. All the runtimes come pre-provisioned. So you can write a query, you can use Magic Command and notebooks, you can select your runtimes from drop-downs in the developer environments, and then give the appropriate runtime without worrying about the underlying infrastructure that query might need to function. And so it also helps you bring together different kind of data sources like your customer 360 data from the CRM, your finance data from your F&O systems, your service telemetry, which might be coming in from equipments, fleet, which might be coming in from any of the APIs, for example, your business KPIs that might be needed to give visibility into management information systems, all of these different languages, all of these different type of data sources, and all of these top level services like data engineering, Power BI, and real-time analytics, all are catered for in an automated manner. You don't need to concern yourselves with the underlying compute or storage. Lastly, there is also concept of one security, which is a shared universal security model, and it is enforced across all the data engines. So if someone does not have access to any particular table or any particular artifact or any particular database, no matter what access they have at the top level in Power BI or in Data Factory, they won't be able to access that particular artifact that's lying in one lake. So a single unified security model is enforced across all role types, across all services, across all engines and data sources to ensure that there is no oversharing because of a SaaS platform. Okay. Now, Fabric is not only limited to data sources in Azure. We saw different kind of connectors in the pipeline mode, but there is an exciting capability that allows you to bring non-Azure data sources into this analytics systems. You can do it without actually moving the data. That's right. You can create shortcuts and mounts to existing data marts, data lakehouses, or any of the other non-Azure data sources that might be of relevance to the project that you're doing in Fabric. Let's have a quick understanding of how shortcut works. So, oops. Okay, there it is. So essentially, apart from all the Azure sources, you can also create shortcuts from, say, the data sources that are in non-Azure environments like an Amazon S3 bucket. And I have a short and sweet demo to show you how it works. So Let's have a quick look on how these shortcuts are created.
In this demo, I'm a data engineer preparing data for my marketing team. I've already brought some data into the lakehouse, and as a next step, I want to merge it with sales data for lead generation reporting. The sales team has already prepared the centrally managed certified data, and I want to reuse it. To do this, I'm going to add a new shortcut, which allows me to use one copy of data across teams. I can choose from a variety of sources, including data already in Fabric. I'm going to select OneLake as the source, and I can browse the OneLake Data Hub and find the MS Sales Lakehouse. I can easily select the table I need, and in just a few seconds, my table appears as a first-class citizen in my lakehouse. No data has been duplicated, and I will always have the most up-to-date data available. But there's more. We know that many enterprises have existing data lakes. Well, with shortcuts, users can leverage one copy across clouds with no data movement. I can light up data not only from ADLS Gen 2, but even S3 from AWS. Now for my solution, I would like to merge customer logos alongside revenue and marketing data. And I happen to have stored all of these logos in an S3 bucket. All I have to do is select S3 as the source, specify its location, and populate all of my account information. On the next screen, I can give my shortcut a name, add the relative path, and that's it. Within seconds, I can see a shortcut created in the Files section, which is the messy, unstructured data lake portion of the lakehouse. We can navigate through all the different folders and even explore the files, despite the fact that data never physically left S3. Before I get started with my analysis, I realize I'm missing a line of finance company logos, which I have on my desktop. In Fabric, we strive to make OneLake the OneDrive for your data. Let's take a look. Here I've opened up my local Windows File Explorer and can see that alongside my OneDrive folder, I also have a OneLake folder synced. Navigating through it, I can open up my workspace, my lakehouse I was just working in, and I can navigate to the tables and files folders. If I jump into the files section, I can easily navigate through the folder structure, open up the retail folder sitting in Amazon S3 directly in my File Explorer. I can even open up the same image locally that I was looking at in the lakehouse, despite the fact it is still sitting in my Amazon storage account. I'm going to jump back into Files to add my finance company logos. I have the logo images saved on my desktop, so I'm just going to drag the folder inside, and I can automatically see the finance folder show up. My data is now going to get synced back into the lakehouse. Let's navigate back and take a look. I'm going to refresh the lakehouse, and I can see the new finance folder show up. Navigating through it, I can easily explore the images inside, just like I did on my desktop. Now that I have all my data in the lakehouse, I can transform it all in the same uniform way without worrying whether the data was ingested, whether it came from another lakehouse, or if it came from S3.
How great is that? It's as simple as accessing your data in OneDrive, and it's as secured as accessing your data in OneDrive. And you can run all of your analytics projects or your analytics work streams on top of it. Great. Now, the important part is that Fabric is not limited to developers. Its creativity, its capabilities extend well into the business user apps to help you directly deliver the insights into the workflow of the business users. For example, you can deliver the Fabric Power BI reports directly into Microsoft Teams. You can embed live dashboards into PowerPoint presentations, and you can do it without raising any adoption or skilling concerns because these are the apps that your business users are using on a daily basis. With that, with new capabilities, you can also create additional AI, generative AI based experiences, and then provision them and give access to those experiences right into the business user apps like the ones I talked about. Okay, I'll quickly move on to the last pillar, which is the AI capabilities within Fabric. At the beginning of this section, I promise that there is a lot that has happened on AI, and there are copilots that are built within Fabric for the developers. I'm preemptively seeing a lot of questions around whether this is an M365 copilot or a GitHub copilot. The answer, this is neither of those. This is a Fabric copilot. It is already in private preview and should be hitting general availability really, really soon, going by what I'm seeing right now. So I think it's safe to show you some of these capabilities that are soon to be GA. You can essentially create a chat-like interface, a GPT, a chat GPT on your data. You can bring out insights through AI, and you can accelerate your development experiences through the copilots. It's important to also understand that there are different kind of copilots in the Fabric experience. So there is a copilot for Data Factory, which can help you create the pipelines through English language. You give it a command of the pipeline that you want to create, and it will give you back the pipeline. And then there is a copilot for data science where you can, in English language, ask the copilot to create a machine learning model for you. It will do it, and then you can test it out. If it works fine, you can deploy it. And lastly, there is a copilot for Power BI itself. So you can have an assistant while building out the reports in Power BI. You can ask it to create a report. You can ask it to modify the report and assist you in the report development process. It's important to note that it's a copilot. It's not an autopilot. So it will help you with the writer's block. It will help you create a starting draft report for you. And from there on, it's your own creativity and knowledge of your business needs that will take you across the line. So I'll, without further ado, show you a demo of copilots in Power BI, and then we'll open up for questions.
Let's take a look at how Copilot in Power BI is empowering everyone to quickly find and share insights. For example, say I'm a sales analyst for a hotel and resorts company. Now, with Copilot in Power BI, I can simply describe the report I want to build and get insights in seconds. Maybe we need a new report to help us understand the profile of our customers, to gain insights into what is driving return visits to our properties. I just describe what I need, and Copilot will automatically analyze my data and create a new report based on my needs. Immediately, Copilot created a new Power BI report that is fully interactive, and I can start slicing and dicing my data to explore deeper. Copilot added the charts and slicers I requested, but also conveniently gives me options to adjust the output to get just what I'm looking for. For example, let's switch to ask for metrics and trends and a slightly different layout. Automatically, Copilot updates the report. Let's go ahead and keep this report page, but it goes much further. I can also ask analysis questions such as, what are the main drivers for repeat customer visits? Copilot responds by adding a new page to my report and uses Power BI's built-in advanced analysis capabilities for finding key influencers for variables in my data. Right away, I can see that customers who purchase spa visits are the most likely to be repeat visitors, followed by those who rented sports equipment. I can easily explore Power BI's key influencer visual further to learn more. I can even automatically see the most significant segments in my data just by clicking. Now let's go back to the first page and finish up our new report. I'm going to ask Copilot to make it look like our existing sales dashboard. Copilot automatically finds and references the dashboard to adjust my report with formatting and layout to match. Best of all, I can still interact directly with the Power BI report Copilot has created. So for example, if I wanted to manually change this line chart to add the reason customers were visiting, it's easy to do with just a few clicks. Let's also change the line chart to a ribbon chart to make the data really stand out. Finally, to make the report even easier for my team to understand, I'm going to ask Copilot to add a rich text description of my data right inside the report. This narrative summary is fully dynamic, and not only does Copilot highlight interesting insights from my data, but it provides citations from where in the report the data was taken. This summary will update every time the data is refreshed, or people filter the report with new insights based on the data. And just like that, in seconds, I've created a report that would have taken hours or days to do manually. Copilot, built on top of Azure OpenAI, is truly revolutionary for how we empower everyone to find and share insights.
Perfect. So that essentially brings us towards the end of this section. I would like to conclude by sharing that there are lots of capabilities in Fabric. It has been announced generally available recently. There are a lot of new capabilities on the roadmap. All of these are available for you to explore and understand in greater detail, and to help you through how you can use Fabric and deploy it in your organization. We have our brilliant partner, HSO, today. Thanks for organizing this. I will give you back the word, and hopefully you can guide everyone what's the way forward into AI and analytics. Thank you.
Thank you, Nipun. I really appreciate everything that you just talked us through there. That was fascinating stuff, and really quite exciting to see what's coming next. Sorry, usual thing, wrong deck.
Just to say, everyone, thanks for joining again. And with Q&As, because we've got quite a long session, we're probably not going to have time to pick that up. But if you do have any questions, put them in the chat and I'll pick those up, and then we'll come back to you separately. So chuck them in there and then I'll grab them and then we'll come back to you. All right. Oh, and also just to say, you might have seen me LinkedIn stalking some of you. Yeah, I'm harmless. It is just me. But if you do see my invite coming across, then yeah, just accept it. Or if I've not yet got to you, you can get to me first. And we do often do these types of webinars and these sessions. So if you want to keep in touch with events we've got going on, then just connect with me.
Right. Thank you, Michael. So again, start from the beginning. Good afternoon. Thank you, Nipun, for walking us through Fabric's capabilities. So alongside those technical demos and the exploration of the architecture, we wanted to give some case study examples of where machine learning and AI and data have already been used to great success. The first case study is for an agrotech company. They develop vegetable varieties and they sell seeds worldwide. They are a high-tech company and they are very research and development driven. And they have a lot of processes that involve detailed measurement and determination of what their product properties are. And this involves a lot of manual work. So to reduce this, they have been trying to use AI and machine learning so that they can improve that process. The company started developing an advanced automated process using computer vision-based learning models for automated image analysis. And whilst that was successful, they needed to improve the scale of that to roll out their models just beyond their on-premises services and roll it out across their other locations worldwide. And to do that, they needed a cloud solution so that they could further optimize it and further automate it so that that image analysis process could work across the company. So working with HSO, we established that fully automated image analysis pipeline, and all of that data and the machine learning models were migrated and hosted into Azure. That automation pipeline was implemented and it created opportunities for faster model iteration, and it freed their data scientists up to pursue new analysis and machine learning initiatives. They used the lessons that they'd learned from this project to further fast track that development, and the next steps include work to improve the existing data foundation architecture and develop unsupervised self-learning models to accelerate their seed and plant development. The next case study is for a company called Stolt-Nielsen. They are the world's largest operator of advanced chemical tankers. They're a global provider of secure bulk liquid storage services, and they provide door-to-door transportation services for bulk liquid chemicals as well as food-grade products. They are a highly innovative organization. For example, they were the first shipping company to develop separated tank systems for leakage and contaminant mitigation. But they need to be able to provide a helicopter view of their client operations to give them the optimal tailored advice that they deserve. And historically, that was unfeasible with the multivariable data sets that they needed to do that pricing and optimization of routes, materials, etc. And they've been unable to leverage AI and machine learning properly because of issues with external partners and reliance on them to provide those models from the data. So they turned to doing in-house model development amongst their research teams. They centralized it and they built a standardized process, which has now yielded measurable success. Significantly, while many organizations get stuck in the experimental phase of training models, working with HSO, Stolt-Nielsen have actually managed to implement them and run those models in production. The final example that we're going to talk about is Coffee Roots Cantata. They are an award-winning, vertically integrated hot beverages group, and they provide the broadest range of premium coffee and tea products across the world. They develop private label products and have been doing that since 1907. They've now expanded to over 30 countries. They have 350 stores in 6 countries, and they are also active in the retail world, and they're the largest and most exclusive assortment of premium coffee and tea, as I said earlier. One of the areas in which they've been struggling is with sales forecasting and stock optimization. It's really important for any retailer, and particularly in the food and drinks business, to have an understanding of what their expected sales are in a coming day, week, or month, and to understand how they can roll that out to retail stores. So they have built a per product, per store forecasting model, and they are now able to calculate lead times using prediction services so they can get ahead of their order management and ensure that the stores that they provide to and the partners that they provide to always have the right product and the right stock at the right time. Stock optimization is again on a per product and per store basis. They are trying to maximize that economy of scale, minimize inventory and waste, and with HSO, we have built an automated just-in-time restocking system so that they never need to deal with things on a manual basis. Having walked through 3 case studies, I hope that gives you an example of some of the things that are both possible in the world of data and AI, and also how HSO can assist in developing and delivering those solutions. We want to wrap up today with where you can start in moving your businesses and your companies and your capabilities into this area. So we are offering an exploratory discussion with yourselves on a one-to-one basis with us that will be 30 to 60 minutes in a remote fashion, where we can help you identify the complex and nebulous business cases that are most likely to benefit from AI, and then taking that into a design thinking process. Depending on the outcome of that session, we can move into something that we call curiosity planning. It's where we explore the problem space and we develop research and observation plans and interviews with your customers, your staff, and your customers' customers. We do that in a 3 to 4 hour workshop, and that can either, again, be remote or on site. After we've done that, if we decide that we want to proceed, that then will then come into a 3 to 4 day on-site or remote design thinking workshop, where we will do an intensive design process with business and IT stakeholders, frontline staff, and maybe even customers if that's appropriate. And we will help you to find those innovative solutions to a complex problems and iterate on them such that you can come out of it with a direction that you can work towards. Hopefully that will be with HSO as a partner. And with that, I will hand over to Stephen to finish everything off.
No problem. problem. Thanks very much for that. We seem to have a few minutes spare, so if there is any questions people would like to take while we've got Nipun and Simon, etc., on the line, we can take a few minutes. If failing that, we can wrap up, but I'll see if anyone wants to post it. We do have a question. Is Nipun, are you still with us?
I am, yes.
Hi, I think it's an interesting question from Paul Griffiths in the chat. I don't know whether you're able to see it. With Fabric having just gone into GA, how complete is the feature set and experience shows early adoption, etc.? You know, is it better to wait is the fundamental question. What would you say from a Microsoft angle would be the best response for this?
Well, I would say from whatever I am seeing and hearing, Fabric builds on these additional capabilities like data factory, like Synapse, like Power BI. So it's not entirely new. It's built on, as I mentioned, years of organic growth hacking, and so it's a new iteration on top of time-tested services. At the same time, it also has some new capabilities like OneLake, like Data Activator and Copilot. So if you have to, for example, exercise caution, I would rather keep it focused on the newer capabilities. Things like Data Factory, Synapse, Power BI, even data science and real-time analytics are time tested. And at the same time, if there is very low tolerance to risk due to a new technology within your organizational setup, maybe due to compliance, maybe due to regulatory pressures, then I would recommend to defer to the Synapse platform. It's not going anywhere. So Synapse is not getting deprecated because of this Fabric announcement. And you can potentially use the platform as a service instead of the SaaS version in the analytics. Microsoft currently has plans to support both of them for a foreseeable future. I hope that answers the question.
There's no follow-up, so that was thank you very much for that, Nipun. There's some follow-up questions while we've got a bit of time. One of them is DevOps fully integrated with Fabric?
Indeed, you can do Git integrations with Fabric. It's an entirely different topic, so I wouldn't go into the nuts and bolts, but the short answer is yes.
Okay. And another question that's come up from Melissa is, are there any drawbacks from utilizing Fabric over individually having ADF, Power BI, etc.?
So I don't picture Fabric as a new service. I picture Fabric as a bundling of some of the existing services plus a few new services. So even if you have to provision Fabric today, you don't have to buy Power BI separately. It comes pre-built within the Power BI SKUs. For example, if you buy a Power BI Premium SKU, all of the Fabric functionality comes as a part of it. You don't have to buy different modules. So you can essentially use all of these individual components like ADF and Power BI from the same Fabric interface that I showed, or for people who have more experience, you can do it from the same Power BI interface that I have shown. It's not completely new, it's partially new. And so I would recommend to use either through Azure portal, you can spin up these services separately, or through a Fabric portal, you can do it in a unified manner. The idea is, how would you want to architect your analytics platform? Do you want to do all the admin work yourself, or would you want to offload that onto Microsoft?
Excellent. The last question we've got in the chat, Nipun, and thanks a lot for answering these questions for us. How to group various types of component together in Fabric workspaces. Is there a folder creation capability there with Fabric, just like Synapse?
Of course, yes. So the entire warehouse demo I did, if you remember the left-hand pane, there was that hierarchical namespace structure. So you can have a tree-like structure where you can store all the objects, your tables, for example, your even your raw files in a Delta Parquet format if you want to keep them as external data sources. So it's very intuitive in the sense of our Windows PC or Windows Explorer hierarchical tree-like structure that we see. And if you want to group different objects like Power BI objects lakehouse objects, warehouse objects into a single sort of a boundary, then you can use the concept of workspaces, where a single workspace for a user can have all these objects, and every user can have a different workspace, or every department can have a different workspace. There is a bit of an architectural element to setting up Fabric and some best practices, and I believe that's where our expert partners like HSO can help.
No problem. Last couple of questions have come in. Does Power BI Copilot require separate licensing, or is that bundled with Fabric? I think is the
yeah, there are some
rationale behind that.
prerequisites. Yeah, there are some prerequisites. So any SKU above F64, if you look at the commercials of Fabric, it starts from F2, F4, F and so on. So F64 and above, or a Power BI Premium P1 and above, have Copilot functionality built in. You don't need to license it separately. It consumes from the underlying compute. So you might want to size for the compute. There is a sizing document there, but no upfront investment is required if you are on F64 or Power BI Premium and above.
Okay. And the last question we've got in the chat is, when you say Microsoft will take the admin work with Fabric, what does that mean? Are we talking about it's removed? Are we talking about it's lessened?
It's reduced. So things like setting up clusters, things like setting up the networking, things like setting up the storage, things like integrating different services, ingestion services, storage services, processing services, visualization services, all needed to be provisioned separately, managed separately, integrated with each other, and then tuned for performance. All of that heavy lifting is now automated into the platform. There is no one like a Nippon or a Steve or a Simon at Microsoft doing it manually. It's part of the platform automation and part of this SaaS application. So that's where I would like to put a pin in.
No problem. We don't seem to have any more questions, so I'd just like to say we can wrap up from now. So first of all, thank you very much, everyone.
Actually, Stephen, I think there was one more question that got missed.
On this one?
From Sony.
Oh, Sony, yes. How to group
various types of components together in a Fabric workspace.
Jumped ahead.
Is there folder creation capability there with Fabric, like the same as in Synapse?
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, we touched on it essentially in the demo. We showed the tree-like structure that we have for different items within the warehouse, for example. And we also talked about the workspace concept, where you can set up a logical boundary between different users or different departments. And so there is a guidance that's available on how to set up a Fabric tenant, how to govern it. And so all of that admin work is not automated. It's open to your organizational needs and your specific capabilities, but it is well supported, yes.
And there's one new question that's coming at the end from Adam. Can you combine an entry-level Fabric SKU with E5 Power BI Pro? The new source code control and DevOps features look great, but it's unclear if they will only work with those using premium SKUs.
So two-part question. The first one is on combining Fabric SKUs with E5 or Power BI Pro. The answer is yes, you can do that. And the Copilot functionality is available F64 onwards, but apart from that, everything works the same. In fact, you would need Power BI Pro licenses with smaller than F64 SKUs. And then the source code control question is I don't have a ready answer on whether there is a limitation at the SKU level. From memory, I think it's available with every SKU, not just premium SKUs. But I would probably want to check and revert back to it.
No problem. We can take that one away and get back to Adam later on.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any more questions from the audience?
That we're done, mate.
I'll just wrap up and just thank everyone very much for your attendance today. And particularly like to thank the presenters, Nippon and Simon. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge with everybody. As stated earlier, if there's any questions you want to add to the feedback you think of later on, please add them to the form and we'll get back to you on all of them. If you'd like to explore any other topics, etc., it's important to fill in the feedback form so we can understand what you found useful from today and where we could do better and maybe cover other topics as a follow-up. And the last point I'd like to say is we also have an in-person event coming up with Microsoft, which is going to be held in London on the 17th of April, which will cover both AI and sustainability, and we'll put a link to that in the feedback form. But thank you very much, everyone, for your time. Really appreciate it, and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
HSO.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be in touch.
Bye.